Expo is one of the biggest conventions in North America with over 400,000 attendees annually, and I was one of them this year. Hello everyone, my name is Eden. Welcome to my channel. And I attended Anime Expo this year and I have a lot of things to say about it. So in this video, I want to talk about the pros and cons of attending Anime Expo from someone who has actually attended the con. Not just the myths that you see online. I'm looking at you, BO Rumors. I want to start with a disclaimer that I'm not trying to scare anyone away from attending Anime Expo. This video is just to warn others of what to expect and hopefully help people decide whether or not they want to attend in 2027. So without further ado, let's jump right into the pros. My first major pro of Anime Expo is that there is no shortage of things to do. No matter what type of con goer you are, there is something there for you. If you're the kind of person who finds yourself getting bored easily at smaller local conventions, then Anime Expo might be a great place for you. You could spend the entire day walking from place to place and you still wouldn't have time to hit everything. Another huge pro of Anime Expo is the freebies that you can get. Anime Expo is full of companies trying to promote themselves, so a lot of the companies hand out freebies to the con-goers. Anime Expo has their own free tote bags and lanyards at every entrance and exit, and there was a ton of different designs that you could grab. Some of the freebies at the industry booths were really cool as well. They weren't always just random paper ads like I was expecting. A lot of the booths put effort into making sure that their freebies were something that people would actually want to keep. My favorite sample that I got was from a gummy company called Puree. If you followed them on Instagram and filled out a survey, you got 2 free trial packs of their gummies, and they were so good. The only thing I will say is you should definitely bring a comfortable bag with a lot of extra space in it. I brought an Ida bag with me and I was still running out of space to put all my stuff that I had collected. So that's when those free Anime Expo tote bags really come in clutch. Whenever you need one, just head to an entrance and there should be plenty there waiting for you. Another pro of Anime Expo is the Anime Expo exclusive merch. If you're someone who likes collecting official con merchandise, Anime Expo is definitely the place for you. They had their own Anime Expo branded merch, but they also had exclusive collabs with a ton of anime and manga, where they offered exclusive products that you could only find at that con. I know that they had a couple of official Steel Ball Run exclusive figures that you could only find at Anime Expo. This leads into another massive pro, and that is the industry presence, and oh my god. Anime Expo is absolutely filled to the brim with massive industry booths in the West and South exhibit halls. Since the industry presence is so big, Anime Expo is also a huge place for announcements of upcoming anime and manga. The few that I was most excited for was the Dungeon Meshi Season 2 announcement panel and the Witch Hat Atelier Season 2 announcement panel. I know that they had some Steel Ball Run and Cyberpunk news as well, but I don't know much about either of those series. When I spoke to an employee at the weapons check, she told me to line up minimum of 1 hour early, but some people begin to line up 2 to 3 hours before the panel begins. Attending popular panels could very well take up your entire con day, so just be prepared for that. And of course, you can meet voice actors and manga artists at Anime Expo as well. Anime Expo had one of the biggest guest lists I had ever seen. Personally, I did not wait to meet anybody, but at the Doki Doki fan meetup on Saturday, my friends and I got the chance to meet Dan Salvato, the creator of Doki Doki Literature Club. Something else I wasn't expecting was the sheer caliber of cosplay that was there. There were so many incredible cosplayers there, decked out in huge builds with expensive looking fabric, and people even traveled from internationally to attend this con. Especially the cosplayers at the official booths, they looked like they popped straight out of the games that they were promoting. It was insane. Because of this, Anime Expo is a great place to get photographs of your cosplays. Sometimes you can get really nice pictures of your cosplay just by walking around, especially if you're in a popular series or you're with a group of people. A majority of the photographers that I saw congregated in the main lobby area outside of the South Exhibit Hall. When my friends and I did Doki Doki Literature Club, we got stopped for nearly an hour and a half to take photos outside of the South Exhibit Hall. Anime Expo is also great for meeting people and networking. Because the convention is so big, you are just surrounded by tons and tons of people. My group met people in lines, in the artist alley, at cosplay meetups, and tons of other places. I really encourage people to be social and break out of your comfort zone because you never know what friends you could make out of it. Additionally, if you're someone who is interested in the anime or entertainment industry, Anime Expo can be a great place to market yourself and get your socials off the ground. There were tons of very popular creators attending Anime Expo, and I personally made business cards to hand out to photographers when they took our picture, and it was a great place to just hand someone your socials so that you make sure they have your contact information. My personal favorite pro of Anime Expo was that the artist alley was so good. Every single booth in the artist alley was beyond talented, and they offered such a wide variety of merch. I was really surprised. I personally was looking for Coco, Reen, and Chris merch, and let me tell you, there was plenty of it. Make sure you give yourself plenty of money to spend in the artist alley because you will definitely be tempted. All transparency, I gave myself $600 to spend in the artist alley, and I definitely wish that I gave myself more. Additionally, the exhibit halls at Anime Expo are huge. The exhibit halls are split into two halls, the South Exhibit Hall and the West Exhibit Hall. The South Exhibit Hall holds a majority of the industry booths, but the West Exhibit Hall does have some as well. There was lots of stuff that I had never heard of before, but it was really cool to walk around and see all of the new video game and anime releases that were coming out in the coming year. It was also cool to go through the interactive exhibits of stuff that I did know. I got to walk through the Mappa booth and take a picture with Pochita, and I also got to do an interactive display with Miku. In the West Exhibit Hall, there was an interactive Dandadan booth where they gave you balloons that were shaped like Turbo Granny, and you got to take a picture in the dining room from the show. For content creators, this convention practically hands you your B-roll with a little bow on it. Even just filming a walkthrough of the exhibit hall can look very interesting because the con is so visually busy. So overall, the pros of Anime Expo are pretty huge. There's tons to see and do, and the con is just so entertaining. But now we need to get to the cons, and Anime Expo definitely has some cons. Anime Expo is crowded. Everybody knows that. That's all everyone talks about. But I don't just mean that it's normal convention crowded. I mean it's crowded in the way that you're like shuffling your feet to walk behind people. One day they even had to kick a bunch of people out of the exhibit halls because it was at capacity and started to be a fire hazard. We also had to wait in a huge line to exit the con on Thursday, but on Friday they got rid of that because, you guessed it, the huge line was a fire hazard. Coming from Ohio, the closest thing that I can relate it to would be GalaxyCon Columbus, but even that does not hold a candle to the level of crowds at Anime Expo. However, the lines for food were a whole different beast. Food at conventions is always an expensive struggle, and at Anime Expo, that goes double. The way Anime Expo organized their food was by having a massive line of food trucks outside of the start of the convention. The line for some of the food trucks was so incredibly long, and the prices were honestly pretty high. The last thing you want to do when you're tired and haven't eaten all day is wait in a huge sweaty line outside. I would definitely recommend bringing your own snacks and water if you're able to. Additionally, inside the con, they have a couple of smaller food courts that sell more traditional con food like pizza, wings, they had hot dogs, salads, and overall it took a lot less time, and the food was expensive, but it was less expensive. Another big con is that the hotels sell out very quickly. If you wait too long, you might either end up paying way too much or staying way too far away from the convention. My friends and I stayed at an Airbnb about 30 minutes away, and we're definitely looking to stay closer next year. Parking is also very limited. This is something that you definitely need to plan ahead for because you don't want to start your day already stressed out because you can't find a parking spot. My friends and I personally parked at Little Tokyo, and we rode the metro from Little Tokyo to Pico, which puts you out right outside of the con center. It's a super easy train ride. And parking at Little Tokyo was only about $20 a day compared to the $50 that we were seeing outside of the convention center. Wow. She's mine. She's mine. No, she's mine. That brings us to another major con, is that Anime Expo is the single most expensive con I've ever been to in my entire life. The badge was expensive, the travel was expensive, the hotel was expensive, the food was expensive, the artist alley was incredibly expensive. But that's to be expected. And even if you go in thinking that you're gonna stick to your budget 100%, there are always temptations. So if you're planning on going, I definitely would recommend making yourself a budget, but I would also recommend leaving yourself a little wiggle room, maybe a little more than you think you need, just in case. Another con for me was that the convention center had a very confusing layout. I heard that they were doing some construction this year and they had to change things around, but personally, I found the con very confusing to navigate at times. You also often have to exit the con and then swipe your badge back in to get to an area that is like disconnected by a fence. A lot of the areas of the con center are not connected and you have to go in and out to access them. And when you're walking around outside looking for things, the heat is another issue. Anime Expo is in Los Angeles in the summer. It's no shock to anyone that it's hot. Wearing comfortable shoes and heat-appropriate costumes can really help mitigate the symptoms of the heat. In my personal opinion, Anime Expo is not a beginner-friendly convention. If this is your first convention, Anime Expo can be overwhelming, and I wouldn't recommend attending it first. That doesn't mean you can't go. I'm not your mom. Do whatever you want. But it does mean that you should prepare yourself. I think Anime Expo is more enjoyable when you know what you're getting yourself into. I personally had a lot more fun after the first day because I knew what to expect coming back. So here is my final review. Anime Expo is so worth it if you enjoy huge events. But if you want that chill, easy, and relaxed convention experience, this is clearly not the con for you. So would I recommend going? Yes, I 100% would if you know what you're getting yourself into. Even with all of the cons that I listed, Anime Expo was such a fun experience for me, and I cannot wait to head back next year with my friends. I hope this video has given some of you an idea of what to expect, and can hopefully help you decide whether or not you want to attend next year. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!